Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining on such short notice. I wasn't even sure we were going to do this until last night when you got the email. So I appreciate everyone showing up. If you have a candle handy or a chalice, I invite you to light it and hold it up to your camera. Our chalice lighting words are the poem Decisions by Boris Novak. Between two words, choose the quieter one. Between word and silence, choose listening. Between two books, choose the dustier one. Between earth and sky, choose a bird. Between two animals, choose the one who needs you more. Between two children, choose both. Between the lesser and bigger evil, choose neither. Between hope and despair, choose hope. It will be harder to bear. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Today, as we know, today, all day, is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Today is also Inauguration Day, and at least half of today, starting at noon, will mark the beginning of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States. And this convergence feels to many of us like a particularly cruel twist of fate. MLK Day is supposed to be this time to remember Dr. King's dream of humanity, of us finally coming together through nonviolent activism to achieve racial and economic justice and to co-create beloved community. I think if King were alive today, he certainly would have added climate and ecological justice. Remember that King was tragically killed before even the first Earth Day. But the incoming Trump administration and its promise of aggression, racism, oligarchy, corruption, and divisiveness, it represents what Dr. King would have called not his dream, but a nightmare. When we realized that Trump's inauguration day was colliding with MLK Day, we planned this hope and healing brunch at UUCF. Our intention was to just share a meal together in beloved community because in hard times it is good to be together. And I offered to share a few reflections about what does it mean to practice hope and cultivate healing in such a time as this. And since the weather is preventing us from being together in person, I'm grateful for the opportunity to share a few reflections about hope and healing that have been touchstones for me and that may be of service to you and to us in such a time as this. The first quote is from the 20th century author and activist Václav Havel. This passage was written from a jail cell where he was unjustly imprisoned for 4 years, from 1979 to 1983, for writing dissident literature against the authoritarian government of the time. Today, we know in retrospect that in 1989, 6 years after he was released from that 4-year prison sentence, he was actually elected president of Czechoslovakia. But at the time he penned those words, that future victory, it was nowhere in sight. So in his words that I think are very appropriate on this day, he wrote, "The kind of hope that I often think about, especially in situations that are particularly hopeless, such as prison, I understand above all as a state of mind, not a state of the world. Because hope, rightly understood, is not a prognostication. It's an orientation of the spirit. It's an orientation of the heart. It transcends the world that is immediately experienced and is anchored somewhere beyond its horizons. Hope in this deep and powerful sense is not the same thing as joy that things are going well or willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously headed for early success. but rather it's an ability to work for something because it is good, not just because it stands a chance to succeed. That last line is crucially important. Hope is an ability to work for something, not just because it stands a chance of likely success. That's just jumping on the bandwagon. I mean, that can be fun to do, but this not doesn't require hope. Hope is an ability to work for something because it is good and needs doing, regardless of whether it will necessarily succeed. That conviction is echoed in my favorite quote from the expert on authoritarianism, Dr. Sarah Kendzior, who said, quote, "I don't believe in hope, and I don't believe in hopelessness. I believe in compassion and pragmatism and in doing what is right for its own sake." She challenges us to avoid either a naive optimism on one side or an undue pessimism on the other side. And those three practices that she points us to could actually get us a long way in the coming years. And I'll share a few reflections about each one in turn. We also share my screen with you. First, compassion. When cruelty is the point for the powers that be, authentically caring about the suffering of others and seeking to alleviate it, that is a powerful act of solidarity. Second, pragmatism. When chaos, gaslighting, and lies are commonplace at the highest levels of power, a practical focus on the truth of what works in reality to create change, that can be potent. And third, doing what is right for its own sake. When the richest among us are fixated only on transactional definitions of power, only doing something for others based on what they can maybe do for you, the old quid pro quo, in that sort of world, an authentic commitment to doing what is good, true, and beautiful for no other reason than it makes the world a better place for you, for me, for everyone, that is a profound and paradigm shifting ethical choice. And as Unitarian Universalists, our heritage, our values is about committing ourselves, our lives, our time, our energy, our resources to the struggle for human dignity, justice, equity, liberty, democracy, not because we're guaranteed to fully realize those goals in our lifetime. I hope that we will. But regardless, it's doing and advocating for those things because they are good and true and right. A related touchstone for hope and healing that has been on my heart and mind is from the book Active Hope: How to Face the Mess We're In Without Going Crazy. It's a great subtitle. It's then been changed to how to face the mess we're in with unexpected power, unexpected resilience and creative power, in a new revised edition co-authored by the physician and coach Dr. Chris Johnstone. In Macy's words, active hope, it's not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by some savior. We're the ones we've been waiting for. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life. Look out the window if you have one near you. Waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forth at this time, right now. We've come a long way and we're here to play our part. With active hope, we realize that there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, and comrades with whom to link arms. Active hope is a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves. That's that golden shadow we talked about a few weeks ago. Discover the strength in ourselves and in others. A readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love. Love at the center. A readiness to discover the size and strength of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, and our love of life. the liveliness of our curiosity, the unsuspected deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair, however, or without risk. There is a song that wants to sing itself through us, through you. We just have to be available. Maybe the song that is to be sung through us is the most beautiful requiem for an irreplaceable planet. Or maybe it's a song of joyous rebirth as we create a new culture that doesn't destroy the world. But in any case, there's absolutely no excuse for making our passionate love for the world dependent on what we think of its degree of health, whether we think it's going to go on forever. Because in this moment, you're alive. I'm alive. We're alive. So our challenge is to dial up the magic of that song that wants to sing itself through you. To begin making that more concrete of how we can put that active hope into practice as we continue to live into this dissonant day of MLK Day and Inauguration Day, I want to invite you to ask yourself periodically over the next few hours or in the days and weeks to come, just drop these questions into your consciousness and see what bubbles up. These are some powerful inquiry questions that Joanna Macy suggests. Ask yourself, what gives me active hope? What song wants to sing itself through me? Or if I could access all the power that is out there for me coming through the web of life, what is the one thing I would do for the sake of my world? I think that pronoun there, that possessive pronoun my, is really key. She doesn't say the world, she says my world. And that's deeply tied up with her understanding of the interdependence of the world that MLK, that Thich Nhat Hanh, and so many others have been trying to teach us, that it is process and relationship all the way down. We are not separate from the world. We are inextricably part of that interdependent web of all existence. We save the world because we love it and because we're inextricably part of it. Others of you may find this final question most profound. What breaks my heart? Noticing what breaks your heart can sometimes be the key, the catalyst to finding where you feel the most compassion. Thinking back to those three pieces from Sarah Kendzior of compassion, pragmatism, and doing what is right for your own sake. Noticing where your heart breaks the most is where you feel the most compassion and where you might feel most authentically called to doing right for its own sake, where you may have the most energy for doing what is right for its own sake. As far as finding more specific, pragmatic ways to act along those lines, some of you can guess what I will say. If you're feeling overwhelmed as one person, stop being one person, right? Look for those justice organizations that are already out there in the trenches doing the work that you feel called to do. You can probably find them in your search engine of choice or email me and I'll get back to you as soon as I can if there's some area you're wanting to work in and not able to find people doing that work kind of aligned with our UU values. Sign up to join them. We are stronger together. And since it's MLK Day, let me also weave in just a little bit more of how his legacy points us toward hope, healing, and repair. At this intersection of MLK Day and Trump's inauguration, I can only assume that Dr. King's words have already been and will continue to be taken out of context by various people in all sundry manner of offensive ways. To instead center the real, unvarnished King, I invite you to take some time today, if you have time, to read what is arguably his most powerful and important sermon that he preached from the pulpit of the historic Riverside Church in New York City, exactly 1 year to the day before he was assassinated. It's titled Beyond Vietnam, A Time to Break Silence. It's widely available online through your search engine of choice, or I'll paste in the chat one link to it. And as I've said many times in the past few years, if you're curious what Dr. King would be doing today if he were still with us, our best clue is what the Reverend Dr. William Barber is doing and has been doing for quite a few years now through the revitalized Poor People's Campaign, which Dr. King was leading when he was assassinated. In Dr. Barber's words, Martin and Rosa, they're not coming back to lead a moral revival. Bayard Rustin, Dorothy Day, Ella Baker, Cesar Chavez, they carried the torch in their day, but they're not coming back either. It's our time now. It's our time to make a way out of no way, to lead us to the America that has not yet been. So how do we do that? For more details, I encourage you to tune in tonight. This was in the email announcing this event that we're in right now. Tune in tonight for a free live stream of an event titled For Such a Time as This, a prophetic response to America's defining moment. The United Church of Christ, one of our closest partners on the local and national level, and a coalition of other spiritual communities, including our own Unitarian Universalist Association, is holding a transformative interfaith service and moral mass meeting, where voices will unite for justice, equity, and collective action to honor Dr. King's legacy and continue the shared work for justice and collective action. Our own UUA president, Sylvia Betancourt, was scheduled to speak at that. Unfortunately, the norovirus hit her household, so she will unfortunately not be there, but encourages UUs to attend if we're able. So it's tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you happen to be in Memphis or know someone in Memphis, you can attend in person, but the live stream is free. You can register for it right on the right-hand side of our homepage, or you can go to ucc.org. I will put that link. It's right there on their homepage, ucc.org. For now, I will close by saying that whatever is coming the next 4 years, I'm grateful to be on this journey with all of you. May we practice active hope and be sources of healing for all in need. So in that spirit, if you did kindle a chalice flame, I'll invite you to hold it up to the candle, and I'll offer this for our chalice extinguishing words. First, the Bodhisattva vow from the Buddhist tradition. This is from the 6th century sage Shantideva. As I read it, notice if any aspects particularly resonate with you and with the intentions you may want to set for today and for the days ahead. May I be a guard for all those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles, and for the boundless multitude of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky until all beings are freed from suffering and all are awakened. The poet Diane Ackerman created a modern version of the Bodhisattva vow. Here too, notice if one or more parts particularly resonate with you and your intent and any intentions you may want to set for this particular season of your life, of our collective life. I swear I will not dishonor my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as a guardian of nature, as a healer of misery, as a messenger of wonder, as an architect of peace. Thank you all for your presence here this morning. Take care. Be well. May you go in peace and with great love.